Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Premier League Front History with me, Tom Atkinson. We're already in the week 7 of the Premier League. A really mixed bag of results this weekend, not as explosive as past weekends, but some interesting games nonetheless. I want to talk about several things this weekend. Number one, Troy Deeney I think deserves some airtime. A couple of people, Alan Shearer included, talking about the fact that maybe he should be included in Gareth Southgate, yes, Gareth Southgate, New England manager. Maybe Troy Deeney should be included in that squad. We'll have a discussion on that. I want to talk about Tottenham, Man City, possibly the surprise game of the weekend. Pep Guardiola losing his 100% record in the league, of course. I also want to talk about another team who are going to be up there this season somewhere with another very charismatic manager. That's Liverpool and Jurgen Klopp. I want to talk about their game. Where does that put them into the mix of things now? I want to talk about what's the situation going on at Sunderland as well. Sunderland fan, in case you didn't know, but just such a frustrating club to follow in general. But this weekend again, 2 points all season, bottom of the league unfortunately. A few things I want to discuss personally about what I think is going on, but what the statistics also prove is going on. I really hope you enjoy. Please hit subscribe below, like it, share the video if you liked it that much. You can always find me on Twitter. You can find me, my name is Tommyaki, that's at TOMMYAKKI. Please give me some feedback. Please feel free to ask some questions. Please feel free to give me a little bit of stick, but not too much. I beg of you. Please don't kill me too much. I hope you enjoy the show, guys. Thank you so much for listening. So first things first, as you may already have guessed from the little introduction, I am riding solo this weekend. I don't have a guest. I am working on a couple of really interesting guests actually. So please stay tuned. I'll make some announcements on Twitter when that starts to be clarified. But this weekend, unfortunately, the address book that I rummaged through, nobody really free this weekend, unfortunately. So it's just poor old me. I hope you can live with that. And the first thing I want to talk about is Troy Deeney. Does Troy Deeney deserve an England call-up? Alan Shearer came out this week and said yes, he thinks he's the kind of player that deserves an England call-up. And in all honesty, I'm a big fan of Troy Deeney. I also believe that Troy Deeney should be called up. You look back at last season, Watford, a lot of people tipped them to struggle that year. Troy Deeney came out with 13 goals and 7 assists. A very, very good return considering he's in a squad that people thought that we're going to struggle. And this season already 3 goals and 1 assist within 7 games. Directly involved with somewhere, I think it's about 33%, somewhere around that, of all of his team's goals, which you've got to give credit to. And does the man deserve an England cap? Most definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. I will take a moment to talk about Sam Allardyce and Gareth Southgate. How do I feel about Sam Allardyce? I feel let down as a Sunderland fan that after all of the fuss this summer and him leaving and disrupting everything, he's gone after 1 game. Did he deserve to go? Contentious issue. One of my favourite writers, he writes for a load of newspapers throughout the country, but he's called David Priest. You can find him on Twitter. He summed it up perfectly. He said, would a drug lord in Cartagena be on the streets doing the deal? No, of course he wouldn't. And is Big Sam naive? Big Sam is not naive. Is he stupid for what he did? Yes. Does he deserve to be punished with such severity? Still up in the air. End of the day though, he's gone. Gareth Southgate's come in, interesting choice. Still decides to omit Troy Deeney from the England squad though. And I can't understand why. I don't understand what Marcus Rashford's done this season that Troy Deeney hasn't. I understand Rashford's great, he's going to be an amazing talent in years to come, but Troy Deeney deserves it. I mean, his statistics this season alone prove that he is an integral part of a team that, in all honesty, they still don't have a real cutting edge. You look at that United squad with Ibrahimovic, Mata, you look at Jesse Lingard, you look at the whole plethora of attacking options. Pogba, Valencia, Rooney, Schneiderlin, Herrera, quality players throughout that team. Of course Rashford's going to do well. He's a good player, but of course he's going to do well. He's in a team that are going to provide him with a whole host of chances. Anthony Martial, another name to throw into the mix there. You look at Watford, do they have a good team? Without a doubt. Is it as gifted as Man United's team? No, they didn't go out and spend £180-something million on players this summer. So with Troy Deeney being able to score 13 goals last season and provide 7 assists, and to score 3 goals already this season and provide an assist, you've got to give, I don't want to say extra credit, but you've got to give him some kind of benefit of the doubt versus Rashford. We know Rashford's going to be a good player. He has time. Troy Deeney's 28. He's delivering the goods now in a team a lot weaker than Man United's. And I honestly think it's a real poor choice on behalf of both Sam Allardyce and Gareth Southgate that Troy Deeney hasn't been called up to the squad. Just look at that flying back heel this weekend. Absolute piece of magic from a big guy, you know. I'm not talking about some kind of athletic ninja. It's not exactly the most slight of men, and just the technique he has is great. He brings so many other players into the midst. I really, really can't stress enough. I honestly think Troy Deeney is worthy of a call up to the England team. What do you think? Let me know if you think he is. I think he's been harsh done by. I think it'll be quite a big discussion this week, especially when the likes of Glenn Johnson are being recalled into that England squad, which really has me scratching my head. But let me know what you think, guys. Get in touch on Twitter, get in touch in the comments below. Does Troy Deeney deserve to be in the England squad? Another big talking point this weekend, Tottenham versus Man City. I think, can we now say Tottenham are title contenders? This weekend did no harm to people using that statement. Without a shadow of a doubt, they've got to be considered title contenders now. Pep Guardiola's lost his 100% record in the Premier League. I do think, though, that a few people might be overreacting to this. Obviously, the first goal, very fortuitous, very unlucky. That Kolarov totally misses the ball and spoons it into his net. Really unlucky there. I also think Man City really missed De Bruyne. Maybe Pep was a little bit negative or a little bit naive playing Fernando and Fernandinho in that team. They struggled without real central creative outlet. Aguero struggled today, which was a little bit of a shock, and you've got to give credit to City for being able to stifle that. But if you do go and look at the statistics, City still have the lion's share of possession, 58% to 42%. Tottenham just appeared a little bit more clinical on the day. Maybe City didn't take their chances. They were very similar in terms of shots on target and shots scored. I think City even edged that, but Tottenham just looked a lot more clinical on the day. I think Pochettino is definitely one of those managers that's very underrated. There's a lot of talk in the media again. How much can we trust from the media? I know it's always a question that's going to come up, but some chatter in the press this summer saying that Pochettino was actually the favourite to be considered for the United job ahead of Jose Mourinho. But the fact is that he turned them down. He enjoys this project that he's building at Tottenham, and he didn't want to leave it. So credit where credit's due there. Didn't jump at the money being waved in front of him by the Glazers and Woodward and co. That Tottenham team looked very good though. Harry Kane, question marks around him. I do think he's a great player though. Missing from the team, so missing last season's top scorer. The players who came in and filled in looked superb. Lamella coming back into the squad looked very dangerous. Eriksen, once again, what an absolutely quality player. It's just a wonderful player to watch. He's like a magician with the ball at his feet. Wanyama looked great. Throughout the team, they looked very good. They looked very organised. They looked very disciplined as a unit. And they were very clinical on the day. Like I said, they were just more clinical. City had possession. City statistically looked like the team that should have won it. But there's just something about Tottenham. Last year they did the same thing. They kind of went a little bit unnoticed under the radar until maybe the second half of the season. This year, I don't know, there's something special about the way they play. I think they strengthened wisely. I do think there's an issue with their strikers. Janssen obviously hasn't hit form whatsoever so far. Harry Kane's obviously out for a few weeks. But then again, you look at players like Son, who was absolutely top-notch again today. Dele Alli, who looks very dangerous. And you look at the bench, they've got strength and depth now. You just look at the bench that they had this weekend, and it was fantastic. And they could call upon reinforcements to come on. And City just couldn't find a way through. Obviously, very frustrating for Pep. Nobody expected him to have a season like Arsene Wenger and Arsenal back when with the Invincibles. But I think he'll be disappointed that they didn't really have that cutting edge today. I think he really will. That being said, City, in my opinion, still favourites for the league this year. Just the way they play is superb. Once they get De Bruyne back, I'm sure if they feel like they need to strengthen in January, that's not going to be an issue whatsoever. Yaya Toure hasn't even featured this season. The likes of Nasri have left the club. Joe Hart left the club. Guardiola just really putting his own mark on things. And I think this is just a blip, to be honest. I don't think City fans need to be worried. I'm sure they'll be back all guns blazing next week. But Tottenham have definitely thrown themselves into contention as being labelled as one of those teams that's going to be able to battle for the top spot this season, and fair play to them. They played very well on the day. They knew how to exploit City, and they did so. Another team who are also week after week strengthening their position as a possible title contender are Liverpool. Jurgen Klopp really has them playing this dynamic brand of football. I know he's known for this like Gegen style football that people attribute him to being one of the creators of, but whatever he's doing with Liverpool is really working. Give it whatever name you want, it's really, really working. If you looked at the statistics this weekend, they had the majority of possession once more. They had about 60%. They had about 18 shots, 6 of them on target. They run out 2-1 winners. Swansea, fair play to them, battled back. They battled really resiliently. Great goal to get. Some question marks lingering over the goalkeeper position once more with Liverpool, but just offensively, Liverpool look a very, very formidable team this year. You just consider how many goals they've scored this year. You know, the one of the opening games against Arsenal, absolute thriller of a game, goals galore. Some question marks, like I just said, linking back to their defence. Are they up for the long haul, so to speak? Are they going to be reliable throughout the season? I don't think you can turn around and say that their offence is going to be lacking at any point. Coutinho looks superb. Firmino looks great. Jordan Henderson looks a much improved player this year, notching up an assist. A wonderful little dink back into the box for Firmino to glance a header into the bottom corner. Looked very, very good once more today. And you look, Daniel Sturridge is still there. And you look at some of the younger players they've got as well. They've got like Shea Ojo, who's one of those players who's probably going to come and impress. And they've got just got a really good squad. Sadio Mane they added this season, looks absolutely fantastic. Love the way that he was trying to copy Firmino's gun celebration. That was a little bit cringy. It's almost like Bolo Zenden at Chelsea trying to do the Asamoah Gyan dance a couple of years ago. But other than that, they looked absolutely fantastic. I do question, they got rid of Benteke. Might they come to regret that at some point? Possibly. In a game where they maybe don't find their groove and they need another option up front. I don't see where that other option comes from now. I know they've got Divock Origi, I know they've got Daniel Sturridge, but I don't see them as that bustling, really strong, powerful forward that, Benteke gave them another dimension, and fair play, if Jurgen Klopp doesn't want him, he doesn't want him, and they've seemingly made their money back on him. But it's just a bit of a bizarre one, really, to look so one-dimensional at times which is undoubtedly an amazing offence. But like I said, if you're struggling to find the groove one day, Benteke or somebody in that mould is the kind of player who you're going to look to change things up. Another little point about Liverpool that I find kind of odd as well, and I noticed, I know they're owned by like a Fenway Group and it's Americanized, and if you look at any American team, there's a bazillion sponsors there. Like an incredible amount of sponsors, in all honesty. Everywhere that you look inside a stadium, there's a ridiculous amount of sponsorship. But I don't know if anybody knows, but Bet Victor support the finance or whatever, the training jersey for Liverpool. Really bizarre. I'm looking at Jurgen Klopp screaming and shouting on the touchline, and just below the badge, there's a big Bet Victor sign. I found that really, really bizarre. I've never seen something like that before, in such a prominent position anyway, on a jersey. I thought it was a really odd one, but maybe that's the way the Premier League's going. We've already seen the ridiculous amounts of money churned into it over the year, but it's just, like I said, it was just a little bit odd. It took me by surprise that it was so prominent on their training jerseys. Let me know what you think, though. I mean, I've mentioned this before in a couple of articles I've wrote. I think the Premier League's very much like the housing market of years gone by. It's a bubble that's expanding, but at some point I think it's going to pop. I don't think it's something that can continue to grow at such an exponential rate, and there's going to be teams that struggle when that pops. You look at the Cities, the Uniteds, the Liverpools, maybe not Arsenal, but you look at how much money they've thrown into their squads. I think if it does pop, are they going to be able to survive? Probably, in all honesty, but will they have the same money to throw around? No chance. So another interesting point, all stemming from Bet Victor being on the front of a Liverpool jersey. Let me know what you think, though, about the finances in the Premier League. Does it detract from other leagues? The Championship, for example, does it detract from that? And does it really leave like a bitter taste in some people's mouths? Let me know. The final point I want to make, in case you didn't hear earlier on, I am a Sunderland fan for my sins. I am indeed a Sunderland fan. Yes, occasionally I do cry myself to sleep, if that was the question you were going to ask. Do I hate Newcastle? Not really. I think that whole hate amongst each other gets a little bit too carried away at times. We're both from an area of England that's historically underfunded and really struggles in a socio-economic factor. So to hate each other over something as so petty as football is a little bit mental in my opinion. But never mind, that's by the by. What's going on at Sunderland though this year? Oh my God, where do we even start with this? It's just so many things. Obviously, this managerial roundabout that seems to just continuously haunt us. It's almost as if we're a poison chalice, and either we get someone who just isn't good enough, or we do get someone who's good enough. Like Sam Allardyce is probably really the only person I can think at this point. Sam Allardyce was good enough. He had an absolutely fantastic plan for us. Yes, it was a bumpy road to begin with. But ultimately, the last sort of 10, 13 games of the season, we were pretty much undefeated in that run-in, and we secured survival. We played some really good football at times, I must admit. The signings of Kone, Kirchhoff and Kazri were just an absolute revelation. He took no crap, but he was positive all the time. He obviously gets the England job, wins the game and gets sacked, which is absolutely appalling. And then we get David Moyes. David Moyes comes in, and he's just negative from the off, which is something I don't like. I try to be a positive person. Positive reinforcement is such a really valuable tool, in all honesty, and is probably underutilised as well, in my opinion. And David Moyes just throws the players under the bus. He hasn't had enough time. He came in, he didn't have enough time for transfers. Players didn't perform well enough. He doesn't have a good enough calibre of players. Oh, it's always going to be a struggle, and puts off players who might want to come here before the window's even shut. And on and on and on. He's undoubtedly a very gifted manager. His last two positions have been obviously failures, in all honesty. But before that, what he created at Everton was absolutely superb. Took over a team much like Sunderland back in the early spell at Everton, and turned them from perennial strugglers into a force to be reckoned with, to be honest. Somebody who was always looking to challenge for the top six. And credit where credit's due. He was absolutely superb at Everton. But he seems to really rely on that. He's sort of using that as a crutch, Well, when I was at Everton, it was a very similar situation. I understand that, Dave, mate, but you're at Sunderland now, so come on, tell me you're going to do something great at Sunderland. And he's been talking about this journey and the players he wants to get in. And I buy into that, yeah, fantastic. He has this grand plan of what he wants to do, and that's superb, and it's great, and it's what we all want here. But ultimately, you already said you came in at a real shitty moment in time, and you've never had enough time. So why are you buying players for the journey at this point? I couldn't give a rat's arse who you sign, but you want somebody who's going to make an instant impact, and we haven't had that, and it's really frustrating. We spend 13 million on Ndong, and don't get me wrong, he looks a very good player, or in years to come, he'll be an exceptional player, but you don't sign Jan Vila for what's quoted to be about £6 to £7 million. And he's one of the people who made a real difference last year. He bossed the midfield, he dictated the tempo, he could pick a pass, something we really, really, really missed this weekend. We came up against West Brom, Tony Pulis team. We know exactly how they're going to play. No real change there. And if you just look at the statistics, I know statistics aren't always the best thing to go by, but if you looked at the statistics, Sunderland just seemed to have zero penetration. They had the majority of the ball, they had more touches, more passes, but then if you look at the shots, it was 17 shots to 7 in favour of West Brom, 7 of their shots on target versus 2 of Sunderland's. That is absolutely appalling, and that speaks of an issue that isn't necessarily to do with who you brought into the club. It's how you play. What's going on that you can't create chances? That's something to do with tactically, in my opinion at least. Obviously, if you bring in Lionel Messi, he's going to make more chances. That's not going to happen. He already complained that he couldn't bring in the sort of players he wanted. But to be so negative and to blame the players when, from a fan's perspective, somebody who does some research and looks into things, when you seem to have no penetration or cutting edge and you just seem to mess around with the ball and not really go anywhere. It's so frustrating. And like I said, I'm one of those people who tries to remain positive, and I'm really trying to remain positive with David Moyes. I do think we need to give him time. If at Christmas it's looking awful, yes, maybe we can reassess. There were some encouraging moments. I think Van Aanholt could be a great winger. He could answer an issue that we've had on that left wing for a long time. But then again, that leaves us without a left back because we didn't buy another left back. So much to contend with. Financially, we seem to be crippled as a club, and we're desperate to try and get rid of that before looking for future success. What will happen this year, I don't know. Doesn't look great right now, but like I say, we've got to give more time. We've got to try and be as positive as possible. If you look at this time last year, Stoke, who were in the same position once more, were in this position. They had like 2 points after 7 games, ended up finishing in the top 10. I'm hoping, I'm praying, I'm asking any deity out there to answer my cry. I pray that Sunderland can do something like that they can find a way to play, because we don't look like we have an identity, in all honesty. We don't know if we want to play wide or through the middle, or how we want to play whatsoever. But I'm just hoping upon hope that David Moyes can sort this out. Fingers crossed, guys. Fingers crossed. If you're religious, send a little prayer for me, light a candle. And after that moan and whinge, sorry, I need to get that off my chest. After that moan and whinge, really sums up what I wanted to talk about with regard to the Premier League this weekend. Recapping, Troy Deeney deserves an England call. Do you agree? Do we call Tottenham title contenders now? There's definitely something about the way they play that gets results, seemingly. They look very good this year. They look very clinical. Jurgen Klopp, once more, great manager. Is he putting Liverpool into contention to be up there come the end of the season? Little side note about the finances and the financial world of the Premier League. Will it last? Let me know what you think on that. It's honestly a really interesting point. I'm sure there's some people who are far more educated than I am. But can this go on? Can it go on at this rate? Or will it slow down? Will it cease? Will it blow up? What's going to happen? Who knows? The final part was just me whinging, and I really needed a whinge. I needed several beers and a whinge tonight, and I'm getting them both, which is great news. Like I said, if you enjoyed what you heard this weekend, please give me a subscribe, please give me a like, give me a retweet, please help spread the word of the Premier League front history. We're getting some guests on in the coming weeks. One that I'm really excited about, don't want to give it away too much, but he's an absolutely fantastic writer, former pro footballer, hoping to get him on. I think he's going to give us some really balanced insights into what's going on in the world of football. If you liked, subscribe. If you want to follow me on Twitter and hear me talk a load of crap on a day-to-day basis, go ahead and follow me at Tommyaki. That's at TOMMYAKKI. Hope you enjoyed the show, guys. Please get in touch. Please let me know what you think. And in the meantime, have an absolutely wonderful week. Take it easy. Try not to get too stressed. Try not to let your team get you down too much. Just relax. Breathe in. Breathe out. Have a wonderful week, guys. I'll see you later on. Goodbye.